remove this message. The shopkeeper was measuring the price when the girl started shouting, "He tore my dupatta, he touched my dignity." Sabir was sentenced to 4 years in prison. There was an old shop in the narrow streets of Shirnawala Gate. There was a simple wooden board hanging on the board, Sabir Kadai House. Inside the shop, there was a man named Sabir. He was a middle-class man. He was dressed in white clothes, had a fair complexion, a calm face, and a simple nature. He was good with his hands and his eyes were full of silence. He was so focused on his work that he could not even touch the noise of the outside world. One day in the afternoon, when the sun was above his head, the shop bell rang and a girl entered the shop. A dupatta on his head, pride in his eyes, and self-confidence in his gait. It was clear from his attire and style that he belonged to a rich family. "This is a dupatta, I have to make such and such a design on it. According to my measurements." He placed the dupatta gently on the table. Sabir shook his head and, as usual, started measuring the dupatta. He was a professional craftsman with his eyes down and his focus on his work. Suddenly, the girl's voice became loud. "Oh God, what are you doing?" Sabir was shocked and his hands moved back. He could not understand what had happened. The girl screamed, tore the dupatta and ran out of the shop. "Save me! Save me! He tried to attack me!" The people outside came running. The girl's condition, the torn dupatta, and her trembling voice provoked everyone. Someone grabbed Sabir's collar, someone slapped him, and the crowd gathered. "Aren't you ashamed? How dare you tease a decent girl? Arrest him! Take him to the police station!" Sabir could not say anything. He was speechless. There were no words on his tongue. There was no understanding in his heart. The world he was living in had become a nightmare. The police arrived, the girl's complaint was lodged, and Sabir was arrested. The witnesses' statements, the girl's status, and her way of acting went against Sabir. A case was filed in the court. Sabir had only one sentence on his tongue. "I am innocent. I did not do anything." But the witnesses said, "We saw with our own eyes that the girl was screaming. Her dupatta was torn." The judge gave his verdict. A crime is proven on the basis of evidence. 4 years in prison. Sabir's eyes were lost in the darkness. He felt as if he had been thrown into the darkest valley in the world. On his way to jail, he looked at his shop for the last time. In that small room, where he had been earning a living by selling halal food for years, his name had been defamed. He was silent, but there was a fire in him. Sabir had handcuffs in his hands, a deep pain in his heart, and tears in his eyes. When the jail door closed in front of him, it was not just a door. It was a wall of fate that had divided his entire world into 2 parts. A prison, a place where the walls do not scream, but the screams of humans continue to echo. Sabir had now become prisoner number 473. He was no longer a skilled worker, but a criminal. There was no one to listen to his guilt and innocence. On the very first day, he was given a narrow cellar in a corner of the jail. Walls of bricks, an old torn blanket laid on the ground, and an iron jug. Now his life was in this very circle. There were all kinds of prisoners in the jail. Some were murderers, some were thieves, and some were cheaters. Sabir was different from all of them, but he had to live with them at all times. For many days, he remained silent. He did not talk to anyone. He did not even look at anyone. He would only look up at the sky at night and ask himself, "Oh God, if I am innocent, then why this punishment?" One night, when all the lights of the jail had gone out, a faint voice rang out in his ears. "Will you be able to bear everything, or will you die inside?" Sabir was shocked to hear this. An old prisoner was sitting in the next cellar. He had a wrinkled face, a white beard, but he had a different glow in his eyes. Who are you? Sabir asked in a low voice. I am what the world calls mad, but I am a dervish. I am atoning for my sins. You have the glow of truth in your eyes, but you also have the fire of revenge in your heart. Sabir opened his heart for the first time. He snatched my dignity, defamed my work, and made me a criminal, even though I did nothing. The dervish took a deep breath. Son, life is not just about revenge. If you burn in this fire, then you have won, you have lost. But if you want, this fire can also give you light. These words touched Sabir's heart. For the first time, someone considered him not just a prisoner, but a human being. Time went by. Sabir would talk to the dervish every day. He would teach him how to endure pain, how to be patient, how to face God. One day, the dervish said, when you are free, think, will you take revenge or give yourself a new life? Sabir remained silent, but something was changing inside him. He was looking for a reason to go to jail. He would talk about God while working, and remember his mother's portrait at night. 4 years, a long time, which passed in a moment. The day came, which he had been waiting for. The jailer called out, Number 473, you have been released. Sabir quietly got up, looked at the cellar for the last time, and stepped out. The world had changed, or maybe it had changed itself. As soon as he left the jail, he got an old piece of information. Sabir Bhai, I had heard a lot about you. Now that girl has become a stunt commissioner. Sabir's feet shook. What? Yes, the same girl. Now she is a government officer. She is very influential. She is in charge everywhere. Sabir looked up at the sky. The fire of 4 years had been extinguished again. But this time, it was different. He still remembered what Darvesh had said. No, I am not that Sabir anymore. Now I will be the one who will tear the veil of his eyes and show the truth. But not with revenge, but with patience. The next day, he went straight to the office where the stunt commissioner came daily. He did not say anything, nor did he oppose anything. He just sat quietly. People asked, who is this? The answer was, it is a Darvesh whose silence is full of rebellion. The watchman wanted to remove him as a beggar. But when he came and sat there every day without saying anything, everyone became silent. He would come on time and leave on time. Within a few days, the people passing by felt his presence. A video went viral on social media. Why does this Darvesh sit at the same place every day? Someone wrote under the video, maybe he is looking for justice, maybe he is a symbol of patience, or maybe he is a mirror of our carelessness. In the same office, the assistant commissioner Aima Shah would watch the same video every day. She would feel restless inside. A light tease in the heart, a strange restlessness, as if an old wound has become green again. One day, she heard some rustling noise in the office corridor. Do you know, that Darvesh is actually Sabir, the one who was accused 4 years ago? Aima's feet stopped. Sabir was stunned. That name, that face, that shop, everything came in front of her eyes in a moment. That incident, that lie, that fear, and then that accusation. She trembled with shock. She immediately went to her office and closed the door. No, this can only be a coincidence. He was in jail for so many years. How is this possible? But her heart was not ready to accept it. The burden of that sin, which had been on her conscience for years, had become heavy again. She was saved, but she could never bear it in her own eyes. On the other hand, Sabir was still sitting like every day. But there was no taunt or hatred on his face. He just looked at every passerby, especially at the gate from which Aima used to come out as an officer. Many days passed. Aima looked down from the window. Darvesh, wrapped in white clothes, was knocking on her pure, silent heart. One day, she could not stop herself. She asked her secretary to find out who he was. The answer was, his name is Sabir. 4 years ago, he was arrested in a case. The same case in which you were the main witness. Aima was shocked. She sat on the chair and covered her face with her hands. How is this possible? Her conscience screamed. You lied. You ruined an innocent girl's life to save your family's honor. She used to wake up every night. Sabir would come in her dreams. She would scream, but as soon as she woke up, there was silence. The next morning, she reached the office. Sabir was sitting outside as usual. This time, she stopped at the door and slowly walked towards him. Sabir. Sabir raised his head. For a moment, there was silence. Then he spoke softly. Yes, madam. Ima's eyes were filled with tears. Why are you sitting here? Not because I want to punish you. Just so you know that I am alive and innocent. Aima moved back, as if the ground had shrunk from her feet. Forgive me for what I did. Sabir looked up at the sky. Then he spoke with a slight smile. I forgave you the day I bowed my head at the feet of a dervish for the first time. Aima sat on the ground. She burst into tears. She was an assistant commissioner. But at that time, she was just a criminal. Sabir looked up at her and spoke without looking at her. But apologize to your conscience. My God has given me patience and that is enough for me. After that day, Aima could not find peace for a moment. She had the files in her office, but the words were lost. She was present at the meetings, but Sabir's silent voice echoed in her ears. I am alive and innocent. The burden of conscience was no longer bearable. Aima decided that she had to bring the truth to light. The next day, she got into her private car and went straight to the old police station in the city where Sabir's case was registered. An old record room, a pile of dusty files, the same place where lies had crushed the truth. I need a 4-year-old for Case No. 84A, accused Sabir. The record clerk was surprised to see. You were the one who complained in that case. Yes, and now I have come to end that lie. It took many hours, but the old file was removed. Every page had the same lie that Aima had told that day. The same statement that sent Sabir behind bars. I have to register a new statement with my signature, legally. The clerk asked in doubt, Madam, do you know that such a statement can jeopardize your reputation, your chair, and your reputation? Aima said in a loud voice, my reputation was in danger that day when I lied. Now only the truth should win. That same evening, Aima held a press conference in front of the media. The cameras were lit, the press was crowded, and Aima said, 4 years ago, an innocent person was sent to jail for false testimony. I am fully responsible for this crime. I lied. I came under the pressure of my family and ruined another person's life. Suddenly, there was silence everywhere. No one had even imagined that an assistant commissioner would accept her crime. The media was agitated. News headlines were made. Aima Shah's confession, Sabir's acquittal, the case would be reopened. Sabir was shocked to see all this. He did not expect Aima to show such courage. But now there was no change in his heart. There was only gratitude. But the test was yet to come. That same night, someone threw a stone at Ima's house. A chair was stuck to the door. If you want your father's respect, then be quiet. His uncle, who was an influential politician, who had forced him to lie 4 years ago, was now angry. You have disgraced our family. Get out. We educated you, taught you, and you are embarrassing us for a mere dervish. Aima looked him in the eye and said, I was silent that day and chose cruelty. Today I am standing with the truth. If this means losing everything, then I am ready. The next day, Aima's new statement was recorded in court. Sabir's old punishment was challenged. The judge ordered the case to be reopened. Aima and Sabir were standing together in court. But this time, neither as a campaigner nor as a defender, but as representatives of truth and justice. The judge completed the proceedings and said, "Aima, this court disrespectfully acquits Sabir